Immune homeless man. The homeless man might be immune to the virus. Throughout Train to Busan, this unnamed character shows remarkable survival instincts and an uncanny ability to predict danger before it strikes. During the tunnel sequences, when zombies cannot see in darkness, he appears unusually calm and knowledgeable about their weaknesses. Most tellingly, during multiple close encounters with infected passengers, he narrowly avoids bites in ways that seem almost supernatural. Some fans theorize he was already exposed to the virus before boarding the train, developing immunity that explains his cryptic warnings about everyone being dead. His limp could be from a previous bite that didn't turn him. The theory gains weight when examining how zombies occasionally seem to lose interest in pursuing him compared to other passengers. While the film never confirms this immunity, his survival knowledge and strange behavior suggest he might understand the infection better than anyone else on that train. His constant muttering about death could stem from witnessing failed infection attempts on himself. This theory remains unproven, but offers a compelling explanation for his otherwise inexplicable survival abilities. Corporate sabotage. Seok-woo's company deliberately caused the outbreak for profit. The film reveals that Seok-woo's fund management company saved a biotech company from bankruptcy, and his colleague tearfully admits their indirect responsibility. However, some fans believe this wasn't accidental negligence, but intentional corporate sabotage. The theory suggests the fund managers knew about the dangerous research and invested specifically to trigger a controlled outbreak, allowing them to profit from chaos through strategic stock manipulation. Evidence includes Seok-woo's suspicious phone call early in the film where he orders selling specific stocks before news breaks, suggesting foreknowledge. His guilty reaction when learning the truth seems excessive for mere negligence. The opening scene shows biotech workers casually discussing a leak, implying routine violations. If the company wanted bankruptcy prevented despite safety issues, financial motivation could explain deliberate risk-taking that resulted in catastrophe. The timing of Seok-woo's stock sales suggests he knew something catastrophic was imminent. This theory transforms the outbreak from accident to conspiracy, though no definitive evidence confirms intentional wrongdoing. Busan never safe. Busan was never actually safe from infection. Throughout the film, characters desperately travel toward Busan based on rumors and government announcements of a secure quarantine zone. However, several clues suggest this safety was always an illusion. The military checkpoint at the tunnel's end nearly shoots the survivors, indicating extreme paranoia and possible containment failure. The massive barricades, electrified fences, and corpse-block tracks suggest Busan already experienced major zombie breaches. In the sequel, Peninsula, Busan falls completely, implying the infection was already spreading there during the original film's events. The theory proposes that government officials lied about Busan's security to direct fleeing populations toward a containment area, essentially using survivors as bait or test subjects. The desperate military orders to shoot first, ask questions later, suggest they expected infected arrivals, not healthy refugees. Radio silence from Busan throughout most of the journey could indicate communication infrastructure already compromised by outbreak chaos within the city. The soldiers' weapons remain aimed even after identifying human voices in the tunnel. This theory suggests the happy ending was merely a temporary reprieve before inevitable infection. Seong-kyeong Infected. Seong-kyeong was already infected during the final scenes. The pregnant woman survives alongside Yong-suk, walking through the tunnel to reach military safety. However, some fans believe subtle visual cues suggest she was bitten during earlier confrontations and slowly turning. During the locomotive scene where Seok-woo sacrifices himself, Seong-kyeong appears increasingly pale and exhausted beyond normal pregnancy fatigue. The theory suggests the virus progresses slower in pregnant women, with the fetus somehow delaying transformation. When soldiers hear Suwon singing, they lower weapons and rescue both survivors, but the film ends before showing them entering Busan proper. This ambiguous ending could imply Seong-kyeong turns shortly after rescue, explaining why Peninsula shows complete outbreak in Busan. Her heavy breathing and physical struggles in the tunnel might indicate early infection symptoms, rather than pregnancy exhaustion. The soldiers' hesitation and weapon aiming at humanoid figures suggest they expect infected survivors attempting to breach the perimeter disguised as healthy refugees. Her stumbling gait and need for Suwon's support could signal muscular deterioration from infection. This theory remains plausible given the film's deliberate ambiguity about her final condition. Seok-woo Survives. Seok-woo didn't actually die from the infection. After being bitten protecting his daughter, Seok-woo transforms into a zombie while reminiscing about Suwon's birth. He then falls or jumps from the moving train, presumably dying. However, the theory suggests he survived the fall and retains some humanity during zombification. Evidence includes his smile before falling, possibly indicating awareness and intentional survival rather than mindless zombie behavior. The infected in Train to Busan show varying transformation speeds based on bite location, and Seok-woo's hand bite might allow slower progression. The theory proposes that parental love and strong final memories could create unique infected individuals who retain partial consciousness. His financial guilt and desire for redemption might manifest as an aware zombie protecting other survivors in the ruins of Korea, unable to fully die or return to humanity. The film shows him experiencing memories during transformation, suggesting mental processes continuing beyond typical zombie behavior. His final smile could indicate acceptance of a new existence rather than death, choosing survival to somehow watch over his daughter's future. This unconfirmed theory offers hope that love transcends even zombie infection. Yong-suk, right. Yong-suk's selfishness actually saved lives. The businessman villain appears throughout as cowardly and self-serving, causing multiple deaths through his paranoid actions. However, the theory suggests his extreme caution and willingness to sacrifice others prevented worse catastrophes. His insistence on blocking infected passengers from entering safe cars, while morally wrong, did slow zombie spread through the train. His knowledge about Daejeon being compromised before others knew suggests insider corporate information that guided survival decisions. When he forces the train to depart Daejeon Station immediately, abandoning passengers, he unknowingly prevents the entire train from being overrun by the infected military stationed there. His bathroom hiding strategy, throwing others to zombies as distractions, demonstrates survival tactics that technically work despite being morally reprehensible. The theory proposes that without Yong-suk's ruthless decisions, 0 survivors would have reached even near Busan. His character represents uncomfortable truth about survival requiring difficult choices during apocalyptic scenarios. Every decision he makes, though selfish, inadvertently increases survival odds for those who endure. This theory challenges viewers to consider whether moral survival differs from practical survival in extreme circumstances. By the way, if you're finding these theories intriguing, I create content analyzing movies like this regularly. A subscription would really help me out. Military experiment. The virus was an intentional biological weapon test. While the film presents the outbreak as an accidental leak from biotech research, some fans believe evidence points to deliberate military testing. The opening checkpoint scene shows biotech workers in full hazmat gear, discussing the leak too casually, suggesting planned release rather than emergency. The rapid military response with riot police and quarantine protocols indicates pre-existing emergency plans for this specific scenario. Multiple cities falling simultaneously suggest coordinated release points, rather than spreading from one source. The theory proposes that Korean military or international organizations tested a biological weapon designed to create fast-moving infected for warfare applications. The biotech company served as cover for military research, with Seok-woo's fund unknowingly financing weapon development. The government's immediate quarantine of the entire peninsula, shown in Peninsula, suggests they knew containment was impossible, pointing to weaponized design. The infected's specific weakness to darkness could be an engineered feature for military control strategies. The checkpoint workers' lack of urgency implies they expected this leak as part of scheduled testing. This theory transforms the tragedy from accident to deliberate experiment on unwitting civilians. Conductor's knowledge. The train conductor had prior knowledge of the outbreak. Throughout the crisis, the conductor makes suspiciously informed decisions about routing and zombie behavior. He immediately understands to head for Busan without questioning passenger reports about infected behavior. His calm demeanor during initial outbreak moments suggests he expected something unusual. The theory proposes he was briefed by railroad authorities about potential bioterror threats on the Seoul-Busan line. His quick thinking to switch locomotives and knowledge of alternative routes implies preparation for emergency scenarios. Some fans believe he intentionally allowed the infected woman onto the train to test containment protocols, making him complicit in the outbreak. His final sacrifice saving Yong-suk might indicate guilt over his role in the catastrophe. The conductor's mysterious background and lack of personal details throughout the film leave room for theories about hidden knowledge or secret allegiances to organizations studying the virus. He never expresses surprise at zombie behavior, only at the scale of infection. This theory suggests he was a willing or unwilling participant in a larger conspiracy that cost him his life. Time loop. The outbreak repeats in an endless time loop. This theory suggests supernatural or science fiction elements underlying the seemingly straightforward zombie narrative. The homeless man's cryptic warnings about everyone being dead could reference previous loop iterations. His knowledge of zombie weaknesses implies experience impossible to gain during the current outbreak timeline. The deer reanimating in the opening scene occurs too quickly after being hit, suggesting reality glitches consistent with time loop fiction. Small details throughout the film, like Seok-woo's recurring guilt dreams and Suwon's premonition-like stage fright, hint at temporal distortions. The theory proposes that someone, or something, resets the timeline repeatedly, perhaps attempting to prevent the outbreak or study different survival outcomes. Each loop iteration explains why certain characters seem to have knowledge they shouldn't possess. The ambiguous ending with survivors entering an uncertain Busan could be the loop reset point, beginning the cycle again with slight variations each time. Seok-woo's deja vu moments when looking at his daughter suggest memories bleeding through from previous loops. This unconfirmed theory would explain impossible coincidences and prophetic behavior as artifacts of temporal repetition. Suwon's power. Suwon possesses supernatural abilities affecting the outbreak. The young girl demonstrates unusual perceptiveness throughout the crisis, sensing danger before adults recognize it. Her emotional sensitivity might extend beyond normal human intuition into precognitive abilities. The theory suggests her singing Aloha Oe at critical moments creates supernatural effects on the infected. During tunnel scenes, zombies seem calmer when she's quiet, and her presence appears to slow their aggression. Her refusal to stay in Seoul and insistence on reaching Busan could stem from unconscious knowledge about safe zones. Some fans believe she inherited abilities from her mother, whose mysterious absence and lack of contact suggests possible death or supernatural disappearance before the film begins. The soldiers' decision to rescue them, based solely on hearing her sing, might indicate the song carries special properties that identify the uninfected through supernatural means rather than simple humanity confirmation. Her father's redemption arc, centering entirely on her, suggests she manifests reality-altering effects on those near her. Multiple characters make sacrifices specifically for her protection, possibly influenced by unconscious supernatural compulsion. This theory remains speculation, but offers explanation for her seemingly impossible survival and influence. Sacrifice unnecessary. Songhwa's heroic death was actually avoidable. The working-class hero sacrifices himself to save his pregnant wife and others during a critical moment blocking zombies. However, careful analysis suggests alternative survival strategies existed. The theory proposes that Songhwa's working-class background made him automatically assume self-sacrifice was his only value, reflecting social commentary rather than tactical necessity. Other characters could have contributed to blocking the door without his death. His sacrifice enabled Yong-suk's continued survival, which, ironically, caused more deaths later. Some fans believe Songhwa subconsciously wanted to die rather than face fatherhood responsibilities in an apocalyptic world, making his heroism partially self-destructive. The timing of his death, immediately after emotional farewells, suggests dramatic narrative convenience rather than unavoidable circumstances. If survivors had taken 30 more seconds to plan cooperatively, Songhwa could have survived to meet his daughter. The theory argues his death represents tragic class commentary about working people dying to protect the selfish wealthy. The door mechanism didn't require one person holding it indefinitely, suggesting better solutions existed. This theory questions whether his sacrifice was truly heroic or tragically unnecessary. Extermination Orders. The military planned to execute all survivors, regardless of infection status. The tunnel ending shows soldiers preparing to shoot Suwon and Seong-kyeong, despite them being clearly human. The theory suggests the government ordered military forces to eliminate all potential survivors to ensure complete containment. Even after hearing the child singing, soldiers hesitate before lowering weapons, indicating standing orders to eliminate everyone. The massive fortifications around Busan imply the military expects siege warfare, suggesting they know infected survivors might reach the perimeter. The quarantine's actual purpose was extermination, not rescue. International forces, shown in Peninsula, quarantining the entire peninsula, support theories that the Korean military cooperated with orders to sacrifice their own population. The barbed wire, corpses, and blocked tracks represent deliberate killing grounds where survivors were massacred. Suwon and Seong-kyeong's survival was accidental luck that the officer hearing her song disobeyed extermination orders. The theory proposes that most survivors reaching Busan were executed to prevent any possibility of infection spreading beyond the peninsula. The soldiers' body language suggests reluctance to follow orders they know are morally wrong. This dark theory implies the true enemy was never just zombies, but genocidal containment policy. If you enjoyed diving into these theories, consider subscribing so you never miss future videos. Thanks for watching!